Hello, dear friends. It takes a fine line to separate the wheat from the tares, from the chaff. Opinion, please. Is Gesara a fraud? Potential scam alert. Discerning is the key. It all comes through little by little. There is genuine certainty. There is false hope business. There are many indications of truthfulness. Absolute question, relative answer. Don't let anyone ask for your money. Don't confuse fraud, deception, and swindling. Neither all is lies nor all is truth. Time will show the truth and the lie. Nesara doesn't exist because it was integrated into Gesara. We are going through a great period of transition. Let's start. In every movement, there are distortions by rogues who try to take advantage of the situation to do business, even if the background is true. Lying is the basis of all military strategy, and this is a war. Moreover, the good guys sometimes lie to deceive the enemy. I never tire of repeating that ignorance and naivety are very expensive in this world. That is why we must be as innocent as doves and as cunning as snakes. People are used to using absolute qualifiers instead of relativizing things. This absolutist and exclusionary thinking comes from Catholic theology. Either this or that, when reality can be both things, and can be both this and that at the same time. To say that everything is a lie is as false as to say that everything is truth, because truth and lies are not chemically pure in this world, but are mixed. What we find sometimes are reasonable percentages of truth, and you have to be very careful to separate the wheat from the chaff. Insight and discerning is the key to research. Discernment. Nesara no longer exists because it was integrated into Gesara. Therefore, the word Nesara is a lie, which I do not use. I don't worship Trump as an idol either, because I don't trust him. He didn't measure up at the time, and he lost the trust of the coalition. Nevertheless, some say he can play an important role in the future. Time will tell. Fraud should never be confused with deception or fraud. With deception, because there are three different concepts. Fraud is an action contrary to truth and rectitude, which harms the person against whom it is committed. A deception is the lack of truth in what is said, done, believed, thought, while a fraud is a crime consisting of causing financial damage to someone by means of deception and with the intention of making a profit. Therefore, do not allow anyone to ask for your money in exchange for Gesara. Nor should the type of deception be confused, because it can be innocent or malicious. Innocent is when the person who says it believes it to be true, and malicious is when he knows it is a lie and says it to deceive. I can't and have been fooled, and that is why I diversify my sources of information to minimize the risk. The only way to never be wrong is not to report anything. Speculation. The lie is to assure that it will arrive tonight or that it will arrive tomorrow or next week, because nobody really knows when it will arrive. And therefore there are no dates. There are only personal opinions, pools, bets and speculations. And as such I reflect them, because they are not absolute truths but different forecasts that each author makes, and that are the responsibility of each one. All we know for sure is that the process is underway, and that every day there are more and more indications of its authenticity. Another deception is to say that someone has the exclusive on MedBets or bonus exchange, and that if you want privileges, you have to pay them money. Nobody has exclusivity on anything, and when it comes out, everything will be public and not secret. Therefore, nobody can ask for money in exchange for personal privileges. The Dove of Oneness was the pioneer in reporting Nesara. I met Shani Goodwin back in the day, communicated with her personally, and had my disagreements with this lady. She started with the truth and ended up with personal business interests in the stock market. At the time, Mrs. Goodwin had 15,000 followers who mailed her money to a mailbox in Olympia, Washington, to stay subscribed to her intelligence reports. This deviation from her mission led to her death of natural causes in 2010. But this movement was authentic nonetheless. It is a lie to say that there is not such thing as a global financial reset, when the Davos Forum itself spoke of it officially in order to tailor it to its own needs, after copying the coalition's idea. Another lie is to say that there is no quantum financial system, when there are many banks that are talking about quantum finance on their official website. Also, Trump signed the National Quantum Initiative Act in 2018, and few know that there is currently a bill in the House of Representatives to back the dollar with gold. There are many signs of certainty. It is all coming to fruition bit by bit. Time will show the truth and the lie. Advices. There have been reports of a number of communications transmitted via email, websites, text messages, posts, or fax falsely claiming to be issued by or with the cooperation of the United Nations or its officials. These communications, which are intended to obtain money and, in many cases, personal data from the recipients, are fraudulent. Scammers pretend they are calling on behalf of government agencies, such as the Social Security Administration and the IRS, or they say that they work for Medicare. They tell you that if you don't pay them or refuse to give them personal information, something bad will happen to you, or that you might lose a government benefit. But this is a scam. Don't wire money. Don't send cash. Don't use gift cards or cryptocurrencies to pay someone who says they work for the government. Scammers ask for this means of payment because it is difficult to trace the money and almost impossible to get it back. They will take your money and disappear. Do not give your financial information or any personal details to someone who calls, emails, or texts you and says they are communicating on behalf of the government. If you receive a call or message and think it might be real, hit the brakes. Hang up the phone and call the government agency directly at the number you know is correct. Don't rely on your caller ID. Caller ID can be manipulated. It could be anyone else calling from anywhere else in the world. Don't click on links in unexpected emails or text messages. Scammers send emails and text messages that appear to come from a government agency, but are designed to steal your money and personal information. Don't click on any links in the message or forward it to others. Simply delete the message. Reset news. Charlie Watt believes, in quotes, that we are going through a big transition period at the moment. The Bank of Spain, the Bank of the Netherlands, the Bank of Germany, the Bank of England, and many more central banks have been closed for 2 weeks because they are switching from SWIFT to QFS. This change is not public, and the name SWIFT is kept so as not to alarm customers. Central banks are in crisis due to the implementation of the QFS with gold and asset-backed currencies. Bank closures cut all these supermarkets, and corporate leaders who want to get rid of cash are leading us to a cashless digital society. But this is not part of the divine plan. MarkZ believes we are getting a lot of misinformation. Someone is having fun playing with us, which means we are close. It could be any time. The banking side is still convinced it will happen any second. The Iraqi dinar has been revalued with rates fluctuating on the banking screens. Things are getting very interesting. Fox News just aired an episode warning that it could crash the stock market in the next few days. A man from Lehman Brothers says the market will collapse in 60 days or less. A black swan event in the form of a stock market crash is expected any day now. This planet would have died without the help of the galactics, writes Steve Biko. He points to the cleanup of depleted uranium in the atmosphere and the prevention of nuclear war. Riots. Civil unrest erupts around the world according to Michael Snyder. People are frustrated with the direction things are going and have lost faith in the ability of their elected representatives to solve their problems. France hit by mass strikes over pension cuts. Elsewhere in Europe, demonstrations against participation in the war in Ukraine. UK ammunition stocks are now at a very low level because of its gifts to Ukraine. Ukrainian businessman involved in the Nord Stream incident. NATO military cables are on high alert for risk of Russian attack. Asia. Russia is moving away from Europe and shifting its focus to China and India. Beijing is studying ways to neutralize Starlink satellites in the face of a conflict in Taiwan. India ditches the dollar and settles trade with other countries in rupees. Australia mint doped gold bullion with silver to fool China. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu attacks an Iranian nuclear facility. Africa. Blacks blockaded in Tunisia return to Black Africa as fast as they can. South Africa is on the brink of collapse amid rolling blackouts, and a power grid failure could spark riots. USA. The Fed admits it cannot control inflation, according to the X22 report. Food queues reach 9 hours in some US cities. More than 13 tons of dead fish in Florida, Indiana, and Michigan. US seeks excuses to intervene in Mexico. Senator Lindsey Graham prepares a bill to invade Mexico. Donald Trump. Trump's call to build freedom cities mimics technocracy, writes Brendan O'Connell. Leo Hontman believes that Freedom Cities, with lots of police and flying cars, fits in with the globalist plan for the fourth industrial revolution. During his speech in Davos in 2020, Trump congratulated Klaus Schwab on the 50th anniversary of the Davos Forum, calling it an amazing achievement in quotes. Trump says he believes Obama is the Antichrist and that he is the chosen messenger. Curious. They can now use Wi-Fi to see people through walls, reveals Michael Snyder. If you wanted total privacy, you would need to give up almost all technology. People are realizing that it is difficult to travel with electric vehicles. Electric vehicles' fires are incredibly difficult to extinguish, and crews revealed that this fire burns for a couple of hours. Why do people drive so slowly? Especially obvious in rush hour traffic. They barely drag their asses as if looking for a traffic light to stop them. They drive below the speed limit, so if you try to overtake them, they'll speed up. Russia tests first krypton-based plasma rocket engine. New patented magnetic flux motor that generates its own electricity. Mike Corbin, one of the Hollister's best-known entrepreneurs, who has been a household name in the motorbike world for decades, recently unveiled his prototype for a magnetic motor that he believes will revolutionize the electric vehicle industry. A mysterious sphere appears on a beach in Japan. NASA slowly admits that Mars has an atmosphere and releases photos of clouds and sunbeams. The Greeks used fire burning in water to defeat the Arabs in 674 and 716, and then the Russians in 941 and 1043. This was a devastating weapon. In the Battle of 716 and 800, the Arab warships were totally destroyed. The secret formula was brought to Greece by a fugitive architect who had excavated it in ancient Baalbek. This viscous product has never been reproduced by modern napalm specialists. Earth wobble according to Bo Davis. There are 7 intelligent non-humankind species living in tunnels deep in the earth. These creatures were once angels. 1 million years ago, Lucifer led the threat of the angels into a rebellion to try to take over the heaven. They failed, lost supernatural powers, and were cast down to earth while it was still an icy planet. These creatures have created over 800,000 miles of underground tunnels. The dark side has augmented this tunnel transport system using fast nuclear-powered drilling machines. The tunnels are now over 1 million miles long at 10, 20 and 30 miles deep underground. The drilling of these tunnels has thrown the Earth off balance, so that the planet is now shaking more than it has in the past. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.